Here.
Smith. Here. Garrett. Here. Beeson. Here. 8 aldermen present, 0 absent.
We will begin with consent agenda items, approval of minutes of previous meetings, payroll, and disbursements.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda items.
I'll second.
Second, any discussion? Roll call vote.
Chrysler.
Yes.
Eddie.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Stevens. Yes. Scott.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Garrett.
Yes.
Beeson. Yes. 8 ayes, 0 nays.
First up is Dan and Associates.
Thank you. Only item we have for tonight is a change order number 3 for the PAC building. No change in amount, just a time extension. We're waiting on one motor to come in. Once that comes in, we'll be able to close the project up. Still holding about $80,000 on that project, so we'll get it. We'll just need a little more time for it to come in.
How long has that been?
How long?
Has it been on the order or?
Yeah, it's been on order for a long, long time. It's because it's a explosion-proof motor. There's just long, long lead times on it.
Just at the mercy of the company.
Make a motion to approve the change order number 3 for time extension.
Second.
Second, if you ask questions, take a roll call vote.
Eddie.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Garrett.
Yes.
Beeson.
Yes.
Chrysler.
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
Thanks, man. All right, it's on to the Steve Mark show, so you can begin here.
Yeah, we have a number of items this evening. The first one being the second presentation of the ordinance amending the procedure for leasing of new or reclaimed lots at the lake. This allows the city council to make a case-by-case determination as to how the lots are advertised for sale and how they're disposed of.
Make a motion to pass the ordinance.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Roll call vote on that.
Schneider.
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Garrett.
Yes.
Beeson. Yes. Chrysler.
Yes.
Eddie.
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays. That's ordinance number 1943.
The next item is first presentation of an ordinance amending the fee for a demolition permit. And what this ordinance does is it makes a distinction between demolition in a residential area and commercial demolition in a commercial area. The fee for a commercial area is set at $100.
Make a motion to first reading.
Any discussion or questions?
Why are we increasing
The cost of doing business has been up substantially.
it? But doesn't this just make it harder for us to get somebody to do it?
No.
Because I just thought we were asking them to pay us a fee and do it, or is this just something we?
This is the cost of the person demolishing. Yeah, no. Okay, roll call vote.
Stevens.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Garrett.
Yes.
Beeson. Yes. Chrysler.
Yes.
Eddie.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
The next item is, again, a first reading, and this is a revision to the remote participation policy of the city council. As you recall, council did do a number of remote meetings during the COVID pandemic, but even before COVID, the city had a policy where council members and other members of boards and commissions can participate in a meeting through a remote facility of some sort, a conference call, a Zoom meeting, or something like that. The state has recently amended the Open Meetings Act to allow remote participation for unexpected child care obligations. This simply brings the policy in compliance with the recent state legislation.
Make a motion to first reading.
Any discussion or questions? Roll call vote.
Scott.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Garrett.
Yes.
Beeson. Yes. Chrysler.
Yes.
Eddie.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
The next item, again, is first reading, and this comes as, by way of a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission. They are recommending a change in language with regard to nuisances. Currently, the outdoor repair, construction, and running of vehicles designed or used for demolition derby purposes is a nuisance within the corporate limits. This proposed ordinance would add some additional language with regards to that nuisance and require that these vehicles be kept in an enclosed facility, a garage, or be, if they're stored outside, that they be completely covered with a tarp or some sort of cover that's designed to conceal the vehicle.
On this ordinance, I talked to you this morning about this. The current ordinance we have, there's hours of 8 p.m. to 9 a.m. that they can't work on their vehicles. This ordinance proposed does not have a time limit. They can be working day and night on these. Like I proposed this morning, I'd like to have the language put in this: repair, maintenance, or other work on motor vehicles for use in demolition derbies between hours of 8 p.m. and 9 a.m. is prohibited. I'd like to have that put in this ordinance.
Any objection to that language?
Are we talking like, I mean, it seems like we're talking about two different things, like you're speaking about noise, right? And you're speaking about sight, like
Yeah.
keeping it covered and viewing purposes of it. Are we talking about the revenue, start that revenue?
This new ordinance does away with the other ordinance.
Yeah,
You gotta have that in this ordinance, because that other language is gone.
Yeah.
We need to keep in mind that this ordinance is going to affect a lot of people that come to this, that have fun here. I can see putting a time limit on what time they can work on it, but not letting somebody work on something in their own property. I don't agree with that. I think we need to revisit that ordinance and consider some other language on some of it. I read the entire thing. And I personally think that it's gonna hurt a lot of our derby, maybe not a lot, plus how many people do we really have working in their yard? Realistically. Does anybody know? Have we had a problem with that?
We used to have a lot of problems years ago that we
Right
did this
now, do we
ordinance.
have a problem?
Not now, because you got a time set on it. If you take the time away, they'll be out there working on them again during the night. You'll start getting calls like we used to
I'm not
back,
saying-
remember that, Glenn? Back in 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, with people working on their vehicles, and Pana PD was out running around dealing with it. We don't want to go back through that old
Right.
times
I'm not
again.
disagreeing at the time. What I'm saying is the way this ordinance, unless I'm reading it wrong, it says that nobody can work on their derby car in their own property. They have to be in a garage.
No, they can, if they got a garage in their property, they can be working on it.
Not everybody has a garage that wants to participate in the derby, and the derby is one of our biggest money-making nights. So I'm not seeing how this is gonna help our city, was what I'm trying to tell you. If you read it, it says, basically, you have to work on it inside a vehicle or have your vehicle covered. And I can see putting a date frame that you must have we already have noise ordinances, we already have where you have to keep your yard clean, and I can see having an ordinance that says, after such and such date, like within a week after the derby's over, you must have your entire car cleaned up, covered, and in a representative, or, you know what I'm trying to say, decent manner. I could see doing that, but not letting our citizens work on their derby cars when that is one of our biggest things in this town. I got a problem with that.
They start playing at 2 o'clock in the morning, or 3 o'clock, just trying to.
I
get a
just
car
said I
ready.
didn't have any problem with the time. I didn't say that.
No.
I just
I
said,
request to have the time put in here, we could be a first reading. I'll make a motion to have the first reading with a language change in it, and we can go from there.
Second. Any further discussion? We'll take a roll call vote on that.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
no.
Eason?
No.
Chrysler?
No.
Eddie?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yeah.
Stevens?
No.
Scott?
Yes.
have, 4 ayes, 4 nays on this presentation.
Then I vote?
Oh, yes, Mayor Pastor.
Yes.
Sorry about that. It's 5 ayes, 4 nays.
All right, the next item is a resolution approving a water main easement with Thomas Dean and Mayola Dean.
Make motion pass resolution.
I'll second.
Second, any discussion on the easement? Okay, roll call vote.
Garrett,
Yes.
Beeson,
Yes.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Eddie,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yeah.
Stevens,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays. That's resolution 23-18.
The next item is a resolution of financial commitment for the Illinois Safe Routes to School program. If you recall, there was a presentation at the last meeting, and the council decided to apply for the Safe Routes grant, which is available from the state of Illinois. Up to apparently $250,000 may be available under this grant program.
Yeah. Make motion pass that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Roll call vote on that.
Beeson,
Yes.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Eddie,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays. Resolution 23-19.
The next item, I believe, goes hand in glove with the last resolution. This is a resolution approving the City of Pana bicycle, pedestrian, and streetscape plan. I believe that the plan is an important part of the grant application.
I think there might be, we sent this up there with the intent of a review process, and I think a council member or two may have a question or two on it, so it might be best, these grants aren't due until October 2nd, to possibly address a couple questions that I think an alderman or two may have had and bring it back, I think would be best.
Motion to continue that?
Yeah, can you make that motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Second.
Second. Anybody? Okay, all right, we'll do that.
The next item is a resolution approving an agreement with eQuantum Consulting LLC. This company has been used in the past to assist the city of Pana in securing electricity that serves municipal facilities. There's an auction program statewide, and municipalities can participate in that, and you bid to a price, a kilowatt hour price for your electricity.
You have this right now.
It's expired, so we need to renew their contract.
Did it say what the number was?
It has, yeah.
Remember a few years ago, we were talking about doing solar down at the sewer plant. We dealt with a representative from this company. We talked to him a lot about that. He was very, very good to work with. His company was.
Save this money and pass it.
Okay,
So make motion pass resolution.
I'll second.
have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Eddie,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Beeson,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays. It's resolution 23-21.
The next three items are being referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission for public hearing. They involve one, recommendation or a change in the ordinance regarding building permit fees. The second, a change in the ordinance regarding accessory dwelling units. And the third being a change in the ordinance regarding the establishment of a commercial overlay district. All of these proposed ordinances change the zoning code, so they'll have to go to the zoning commission for public hearing. feedback, and the commission may report back to the city council with the ordinances as is, or make recommendations or changes in the ordinance. First one is the ordinance regarding building permit fees.
These are simply just to have the public hearing.
This is first presentation. Well, it's a referral. It's a referral, so you're not adopting it this evening, so you can just take action to refer it this evening to the planning.
Make a motion to refer this to planning commission for a public hearing.
Second, any discussion or questions? Roll call vote.
Eddie?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Eason?
Yes.
Chrysler?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
The second one is proposal regarding accessory dwelling units.
Now, this ordinance here, it's a mess. It's got a lot of issues in this. I absolutely don't like this.
But this is a referral for the public hearing, right?
Right.
Not the ordinance to be passed.
Right.
This will
And
give
not a
the,
lot
So
of
it's gotta
stuff.
be looked at.
it'll give the community an opportunity to
Okay.
ask questions, concerns, comments, favors. Yeah.
We'll wind up tearing this one apart. I'll make a motion to refer it for a hearing.
Second.
Second. Further discussion? Roll call vote.
Schneider?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Eason?
Yes.
Chrysler?
Yes.
Eddie?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
And the final one is a referral regarding the commercial overlay district in the downtown area.
I'll make a motion to refer that planning commission for a public hearing.
Second.
Discussion or questions? Roll call on that one.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Beeson?
Yes.
Chrysler?
Yes.
Eddie?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yeah.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
That's it.
Thank you. A couple more?
Maybe later.
Greg, you're up.
Okay, I'm just gonna let Lee talk about this Oswald grant. I don't know what you have in front of you, but somewhere in the middle of it, I'm gonna talk about what I just handed out.
So fortunately and unfortunately, you're not on the distress list. So you think that sounds like a great thing, but you're not on the distress list. But the bad news is you're only eligible for 50/50 funding, which we talked about at your last meeting, versus 100-0. So we worked with the city on paring down the project. I know there's been some donations that the city has. I say it's city, but however they're held. The in-kind waiver is eligible for funding, so we worked on what could potentially be done with some in-kind labor, because that can count as your 50% leverage. And I know there's 2 or 3 things on the list that I think you've been talking about for a while, which are not, I'm sure they're not, I believe they're not in the current budget. If you do apply for the OSLAC grant, the fiscal year you actually do the construction would more than likely be at least 24 at the soonest, and potentially 25, so it would not be in this fiscal year budget, but you still have to come up with the money. The question was asked, hey, if we wait till next year, could we be on the 100-0 list? It does change, and municipalities now went from being on it to not being on it, and we actually have an email from DNR explaining how they make that determination. I'm not gonna say you're gonna be on it next year. I'm not gonna say there's gonna be an OSLAC program next year. So, you know, it's up to the city in regards to, this does take care of some things we've been talking about for a long time, or been talking about, I don't want to say for a long time. But it also does come with, I'm gonna say 120,000, whatever the number is, of money that, from my understanding, is not budgeted in your current fiscal year, and I don't know that you can budget for it in your next fiscal year.
Just so we can know what we're talking about. We've got it down to 330,000 total. Half of that, our part is 166. Kirby has 40, which is half of her $80,000 rink she wants to build. And then we might be able to come up with something like $5,000 worth of Chris's people's labor. We can count that as part of our match, so that would leave the city with 121,000 to come up. Now, these five, there's 15 or so items on that list, if you're looking at it, I don't know. But then, these five items, we've talked about doing regardless. So that pavilion we could do for 65,000. This is the southeast one that is very, what brought about this?
Nathan Bowen, he went blowing out the park. On numerous occasions, noticed the south pavilion there on 51 is crumbling, it's falling in. I don't know if anyone has drove through there and looked at it, but it's on the verge of falling in. It needs replaced. I think that is the last one, I think, in recent years that I can recall. That's the last one that needs to be renovated.
There's a lot of sagging.
There's a lot of sagging in the middle.
It's not in good shape. Baseball drainage, I've been out there, me and Chris, at least 3 times talking to the various people that ran the baseball over the last 4 or 5 years. I figured we could do that much, 15,000 there. This sidewalk path, that's, a gentleman came in here about 2 months ago talking about we need to put a sidewalk from the highway to the main gate. He was pushing a stroller down 9th Street. Anyhow, we kind of said we'd look at doing that, so that's in here. Tennis lighting, we've been talking about that for a month or 2. So we threw that in here. And then the parking lot by the big slide, it's always been a mess. I've worked on that with Beef, trying to get the paving right. And what we did find, Scotty was out there, we found there's a 18 or 24 inch storm sewer running right between the parking lot and the big slide. So we could put 3 catch basins in it, get all the water to run there, regrade that parking lot and make things work right. So just these estimated numbers are 176,000. If we go ahead and do them, which I'm not saying we're going to, I'm just saying we put in this package things that we were going to work on anyhow to get somebody else to pay half of it. So that's where you find money, I don't know, but we can get, if we commit to doing these 5 things, we're going to spend more than our half of the project anyhow.
You know, they've done, they did all the homework on this, which is great. You know, I keep preaching this and preaching this for the last 2.5 years. We know we got a brand new sewer plant we gotta build. We're working on lead service lines. Those are mandates, the reality, we have to pay for them. They come out of, the sewer plant comes out of the sewer fund. All the lead service lines comes out of the water fund. This money here that we spent for the park, that's gotta come out of the general fund. There's no money in the general fund to pay for this. Next year, we'll be looking at trying to come up with funding on paying for the water and the sewer and this. How's the public gonna like it when we raise the water rates sky high? We turn around, try to raise money for this. Only way you're gonna get money for this is you're gonna have to do some kind of a tax levy or something, because we don't have the money for it. I think it's great that, they did this. Let's put it off and try for next year, see what happens next year. I hate to see us with these big projects that, if there are unfunded mandates, and I run across this stuff in years past, still do Glenn, and we gotta pay for this stuff. And we gotta come up with money, and how we get the money is water rates. That's how we pay for that. This here, this is general fund. How you gonna get the money there? I'd say we hold off on this Ozol. That's my opinion, because we can't fund it.
People are complaining about the water bill now.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
I know we're doing everything we can the last 2.5 years, drawing plans up for the new sewer plant. I know a couple years ago, they were wanting to put another $2 surcharge on to start paying for because we got to replace the service lines. It's lead from the shut-off box up to the home, and we've been using that 3% money, so we haven't had to do that. I don't want to raise anything. As long as we can get by with it, with our money, we're going to do that. And I hate to see us jumping off on other projects we can't fund. I've been for the last 2 years driving myself nuts trying to keep the money down. Haven't I, been? Every time we have a meeting on this, I constantly remind everybody how we gonna pay for this water rates. And this project is a $10–11 million project. By the time we get it built, it's probably gonna be a 13 or 14, and we can only get so much grant money, and we gotta borrow the rest. And we pay the loan back, that's water rates. So, that's reality.
And I don't personally think we need to do anything else with the water rates until we get some more straightened out with the water. There's already a lot of city complaints from people. The water's payment and all that's been a big issue.
I will take everybody back on topic. This is not a discussion about water rates. This is just simply discussing whether we want to apply for an OSLAC grant, which we would have no guarantee that you would get or not. This is an application. If we get it, then we could worry about how we're going to fund it. But honestly, if we did get an OSLAC grant, how long would it take to know that? And then how long would it take to get these projects going? It could be a year to 2 years before you even do that or know. So this is just simply, do we apply for it, do we not? And you have to ask yourself the same question too. Do we want to just stop all development in the city of Pana because we have 2 unfunded mandates we have to meet? No, we have to continue to move forward. We're going to continue to do projects, and we're going to continue to improve the community. I think applying for the grant would be something we should do to see if we get it. To be afraid to do it because we have these unfunded mandates that we have to do through the state is simply just hindering other progress. So I would ask the council to consider that when they make a motion or a vote on this. This is simply just applying for the grant, which Mr. Beckman will be helping us.
One thing that I'm gonna ask Lee is, if we apply for it, do we or do we not commit to spending that money?
There would be a grant agreement after you're awarded it, so you could theoretically turn it down if you received it. If that's what you're asking.
I don't think, yes, that's what I'm asking.
Would there be a penalty?
There's not a penalty, but I always tell everybody's human. I don't think there's anything written that says if you turn down a grant, you're not gonna get another one, but I've never recommended someone turn down a grant.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no,
In a way, you are committing to it to a certain extent.
I think that's a fair statement.
So these things could have been brought to us before a budget was brought up, and we could have started doing this with our budget.
Well, this is 24, 25.
But no, I'm just saying that some of the stuff on here could have been brought up while we were working on our budget that we could have been doing once a year, possibly.
Are you asking could it be fit into a budget?
No, I'm saying it can be fit into a budget.
Right.
If it's brought to the people at the time when it needs to, when the budget is being, going through, saying, okay, we're gonna approve this, we're not gonna approve this.
Yeah.
So that's when we need to have this type of information so that we can figure this stuff out.
But Greg's point is, if you budget it through your regular budget, you pay 100%.
Yeah.
Whereas if you do it through the outside, you pay 50%, but you still have to pay it.
I understand that, but I mean, the possibilities is that we may not get it, so.
But we would have at least a year probably before we knew if we would get it. So that would give us a year to be prepared.
I am sure it will not be in your current budget. I am fairly certain it probably will not be in your 24 budget for construction. Probably your 25, so you're 2 years out on your budget.
Which would leave plenty of time, ideally, for planning. If we are awarded. And we can fit it into this budget, some of these projects, in that time frame, sure we can. And
I'm sure on this subject, every time we do an OSLAC grant, we have the same situation. We're dreaming up something to do because we hear there's a grant. So maybe what Tim's saying, or maybe what we should be saying, is why don't we budget for an OSLAC grant? Do you not do that because you may not get the grant, or there may not be one available? I don't know. But the ideal situation would be to have some plans laying around and have some money laying around, and when this comes available, you double your money and you go to town. So maybe what Tim's talking about is let's get ready for the next OSLAD grant in a budget. Is that, I don't know how your budget stuff works. Would that make any sense? Or are you just saying let's pick one of these things and do it?
Well, I'm just saying, if this is stuff that we need to know for when a budget does come around, and then if we do have something to that point, we can use it and say, yeah, we can put these together and do an OSLAD if, at least the money might be there, instead of us
Right.
hoping that it might be
I
there.
mean, paying, like he just said, all this is coming, all the projects are coming out of the general fund, like Alderman Scotty had said, where's that money coming from? To do all those projects. So instead of funding half of 65, now we're paying all of 65. I mean, I see it both ways. It's a win-win.
I think we would be shooting ourselves in the foot if we did not apply for the grant. Because you don't know until you try, and you can't be afraid to try. Yes?
Are you able to set up a OSLAD grant fund that just builds for 5 years and then you go out? Can that build year over year to,
We can put a line item in any budget to fund.
but does it just roll into the general fund or the,
That normally doesn't roll over.
can it roll over and build?
It goes back
for
into
5 years and
general.
then be just specifically for an OSLAD grant down the road?
Pete, how we are on the money. You're the treasurer, where we at with money?
Well, general's doing okay right now, but as you know, with water and sewer, we're gonna have the mandates coming in.
Yeah, but that's $121,000, are we gonna be able to do that?
In a year.
In a year,
Or more.
all depends if we're paying out overtime. I know we got complaints about overtime, you know, we gotta watch our budgets. Everybody watch our budgets, we possibly could, but we'll have our auditor will probably give us an explanation probably the next month. He'll give a report to the council. So possibly the best way to probably to talk to the auditor and get his response. But there's a possibility we could have that kind of money, but we'll have got some other areas that we want to cut.
When's this gonna be turned in?
August 31st, I believe. August 31st,
August 31st?
and I don't do your budgets, but, you know, I think from what people have been saying, it's theoretically in your 24 budget, you could budget 60,000. And then 60 the next year, and that would take care of it. Instead of budgeting 120 in 1 year, that's your guys' guess.
Our sales tax revenue in the community is increasing.
So but here's my other question. The 333,000, does that have to be paid up front? And then you get reimbursed by the state after you got everything complete?
So the way the OSLAD works is after you get your grant, you're gonna give it 50%. And then you're gonna get 50% at the end. So if you apply for a $160,000 grant, you would get 80 before construction starts. I don't know if it's 160, I'm paraphrasing here. And then you get 80 after it's complete. So you would have to float 80,000 of the 160, I'm gonna say for 2 to 3 months, over a short period.
So basically, our half, we would have to have up front.
You would have to have your half when construction starts for probably the second or third pay estimate. By getting 50% of the grant, you would have that money to pay, I'm gonna say the first or second pay estimate. So you'd have to have your portion pretty shortly after the project starts.
And the state reimburses you after the project's done?
The last 50%.
What's he's hesitant about is last time we did an OSLAD grant for that playground, the governor shut it down in the middle of it, and
After we was done with it,
we paid for the whole thing and sat and waited.
waited for our 50%.
So is that not how it normally works?
So that's what I'm asking, do we have to have the 333,000, and then, after it's completed, they give us our money back?
After the grant agreement, you'll get 50% of the grant. So you're not carrying the entire amount. So you're not gonna carry the entire amount. But you gotta carry your 50% plus 25%, 2 to 3 months after the project's complete.
What is Kirby's opinion on it?
Go for it.
She says go for it.
Yes.
Tim was right. We were we were in dire straits there. We paid out all the money. The governor, I don't know who the governor was back then, I want to say, held everything up. The state said, well, you have your money no more than 3 months. 3 months. It took 7, 8 months. We had to beg for the money
At
back.
least a year later, at least.
One of our legislators, if it wasn't for him, we would have been out this money. You know, we do have a nice place out there now, but it's up to the council what you want to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but It might be tight, with everything, our expenses are going up and everything. So it's up to the council what you want to do, but if we had a better view, August 31st is kind of, I know, with our audit.
That's the week of the audit, isn't it?
Well, he won't have it done by the 31st.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, if we had a better idea of what his opinion was, because he's the expert. So that we could have the money, possibility. Our sales tax is going up. Our income tax is going up. We got new businesses.
Yeah, is Jack Black, are we looking at, are we gonna start getting money from them right away?
Yes.
Okay, you just said
Well,
no, and you're saying
no,
yes. Which one am I getting here?
There's an agreement, I'm sure Steve will say, we have to give up part of our business district money.
Because they're tapped, they got.
Yes. There was agreements years ago, which nobody on the council probably was aware of. But, yeah, you gotta watch that too.
So how long how long are we looking before we start seeing, because I'm sure that's gonna be a significant amount to our city, correct? In the sales tax that they bring in, isn't one of the biggest ones?
Not just, well, no, they're not the biggest one by far, but Jack Flash and any other development that do that will bring sales tax to the city.
So that's gonna be one that we have.
But I want to remind the council, we're not spending any money. This is applying for the grant, which you do not know we will get. I get the idea that we're saying, will we have the money in the future? Well, you can't predict the future. But I would say, based upon the amount of money the city is making and the progress that we're doing, we will have enough money, which is $121,000, to fund this if we need to, if we get the grant. Again, we're getting off topic. The topic is, do we apply for this grant? Can we see if we get it? If we get it, it will help fund this. We get more money if we apply, or we can just pay these and do these projects out of pocket and pay more. It makes sense to apply for the grant. So I'm going to take the council back again and say, I need a motion to proceed with applying for the grant, or we don't.
I'll go ahead and motion to apply for the grant.
Can I need a second? Okay, let's take a vote.
Scott,
No,
Smith,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Beeson,
Yes.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Eddie,
No.
Schneider,
No.
Stevens.
Yes.
It's 5 ayes and 3 nays.
We will go on to the clerk.
All right, I have two things. Had a public hearing right before the meeting for a pre-annexation agreement with Ian Piper at 1112 West 3rd Street. This is simply for turning on water service to that property since they are outside the city limits. I had one person in attendance posing questions. They were wanting to make sure that they were not going to be forced to annex in. That's not what this is for. And so I like a motion to pass the resolution to approve the pre-annexation agreement.
make a motion to pass resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Beeson, Chrysler,
Yes.
Eddie,
Yes.
Schneider, Stevens,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, that's resolution 23-22. And then I also have a resolution for the 2023 King of Labor Day Parade. This resolution needs turned into the Illinois Department of Transportation to shut down state roads for that parade. So I need a motion to pass that.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Garrett,
Yes.
Beeson,
Yes.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Eddie,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, that's resolution 23-20.
Okay.
Nothing at this time.
I have 3 items on mine. Advertise for qualified lateral transfer candidates to Pana Police Department. Hold on. Motion,
Make
Captain.
that motion.
Second.
Any
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, the second is, we had to purchase a new lake intake pump, on an emergency for $8,500, instead of $750.
I make a motion to, pay that.
We already paid it. It was an emergency declaration. The third one is a change in ownership of the liquor license, for Lucky Jackpot from one brother to the next, Marsha Patel. Art Patel, 100% owner. This is not a change of type of license, just a transfer. Need a motion.
Make a motion to approve, change.
Second.
Second, discussion, questions? Roll call vote.
Chrysler?
Yes.
Eddie?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Beeson?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, we'll go on to reports of committee, community and safety,
Yeah, we have nothing at this time.
okay, community operations.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve sewer adjustment Angela Roads Perry at 4 West of Width, amount of $91.92, leaving a balance of $220.62. They had a leak with their water heater out in, they got like a utility closet, and we checked it all out, so they're good.
I second.
Any discussion or questions? Roll call vote.
Eddie?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Beeson?
Yes.
Chrysler?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
I make a motion to approve a sewer adjustment Crystal Edmonton at 800 West Washington, an amount of $183.85, leaving a balance of $368.23 due.
I second.
Any discussion or questions? Roll call vote.
Schneider?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Beeson?
Yes.
Chrysler?
Yes.
Eddie?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
And that's all I have.
Okay, administration.
Make a motion to approve the quote from Schulte Supply for the water department, $12,990. That has been budgeted.
For how much?
$12,990.
Second for that.
Discussion or questions? Roll call vote there.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Beeson? Chrysler?
Yes.
Eddie?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
Make a motion to approve the electrical bid for City Hall Media installation.
I second.
Second, questions or discussion? Roll call vote there. Oh, go ahead.
I'm assuming the low bid.
Yes, yeah.
Red.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Beeson?
Yes.
Chrysler?
Yes.
Eddie?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays. Electrical bid for City Hall to Reds Electric.
Make a motion to approve the bids on the surplus properties, Fifth Street to Davison's and, Michael Street to Manuel County contracts.
Second. Second. Any discussion or questions? Roll call vote there.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Beeson?
Yes.
Chrysler?
Yes.
Eddie?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
And make a motion to, advertise for a window replacement at City Hall. The project will be made with advertising.
Second. Okay, sorry, any discussion? Roll call vote.
Garrett?
Yes.
Beeson?
Yes.
Chrysler?
Yes.
Eddie?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
Make a motion to approve the garbage service bid for city properties.
Second that was for trial.
If you
Yes.
try.
Yeah.
Is that the only bid?
Yeah, that was it.
No one else wanted to?
That's that.
I second.
Second, any discussion? Roll call vote.
Beeson?
Yes.
Chrysler?
Yes.
Eddie?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
Make a motion to approve the purchase of the mosquito spray from London for $1,724, which that's been budgeted for.
Second. Any discussion or questions? Roll call vote on
Chrysler?
Yes.
Eddie?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Eason?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
I make a motion to approve the application process for the community Visa card with People Bank. Second.
Second. Any discussion or questions?
Why are we getting a Visa card?
So the city has never had like a government credit card for purchases, and we are coming into more and more situations where vendors will not accept a mail-in check, especially if there's somebody that we don't do business with on a regular basis, and so employees are ending up having to use their personal cards, and then we do reimbursements, and really don't want to handle purchases that way. So this credit card is specifically geared towards nonprofits and municipalities. I got the information from People's Bank here.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Okay, any further discussion or questions? Roll call vote.
Eddie?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Eason?
Yes.
Chrysler?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
Community center.
I'm worn out.
Okay, economic development, nothing, negotiations, nothing, unfinished business, new business.
Got a question.
Oh, yeah.
401 East First Street. I got approached by the American Legion asking if there's a way that they can deal with the city on, either us donating it to them, because they'd like to use that, take it for a parking lot. I know it's not on the agenda or anything like that, I just want to know what we had to do to ask Mr. Mark if that process is possible.
Can we advertise this?
Not yet. I don't have I don't have the deed yet. The payment and the contract's been sent to the Christian County trustee, and I've got that
You're
back.
waiting for it.
But I was just waiting for the deed.
Yeah, once the city acquires ownership, the city can dispose of it through advertising for bids.
Okay.
And I would have whoever's interested submit a proposal, and it may be a donation situation, maybe some cash value associated with it, or some obligation to put in parking by a certain date, those things are all negotiable. And then the council can decide where the property should go.
We need to remember, there's a city alley between, that runs up the west side of the American Legion property. I mean, it's a weird diagonal thing that's on the old section line. So I think they're aware of it, but it's actually over in the neighbor's yard, like these people's garage was on the alley. Just something to think about when you're exchanging properties with these guys, is whether you want to keep that or what you want to do with it. The alleys, it's an L-shaped deal. It's weird because section line runs north and south and the railroad doesn't.
Once we get the title, then I think, then we can definitely look at doing something, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Linda Dressel.
Yes. Pana Pride would like to have permission to hold their annual demo day for kids event at Kitchen Park on September the 9th.
September the 9th. Chief? Good with that?
Anyone Derby?
Yeah.
It's for kids.
The council all right with that?
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
Second, all in favor?
Thank you.
All right, then we will move on to going into closed session to discuss property acquisition. And I will, Ms. Cole, will need to.
I have a quick question. Can we clarify what that ordinance is on the Derby thing? Because I know my messenger's gonna blow up as soon as I leave this place.
What's the what?
The ordinance on the Derby cars, what exactly is that? They're not allowed to work on them in their yards anymore, only in garages? Or,
They can have them in their yard.
Isn't there a copy over there?
Yeah, there should be a copy of the ordinance over there.
Yeah, it's under the amendment, chapter 13, nuisance is what it's under. If you read it.
And
That was just a referral.
is a referral, and there is a current city code regulating derby cars as well.
No, that was an ordinance that we discussed in another report.
There's no list of referral.
From the zone.
So what, yeah,
They worked on it.
planning and zoning looked at this ordinance and made recommendations to change, based upon the existing law and what other cities are doing and what would be beneficial to the community as a whole. So that's what this was done. They took a look at it, and this is their recommendation on, changes that need to be done to that ordinance. Which the council then votes on to either adopt or not adopt. So this is just the first presentation. It'll come back for second vote the next one, so it's, yeah, that's the entire ordinance, we will review that in detail. So, I need a motion to go into closed session.
Make a motion to go into closed session, discuss acquisition of property, GC 5.
The second? Okay. The roll call.
Schneider?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Eason? Chrysler?
Yes.
Eddie?
No.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 1 nay, sorry.